The next talk we have is with Ammara Gafoor of Thoughtworks and Antonio Agudo of Roche Diagnostics. They will be talking about data mesh strategies in pharma and life science, insights from industry leaders. Let's bring on Ammara and Antonio.
Thank you, everybody, for having us here. My name is Ammara. The topic for today is data mesh in life sciences. And this is, rather than going into depth right now, it's a little bit focusing on the life science industry. And we would like to bring to you the challenges, the trends, and opportunities that we observe. And here we have today. So I'm Ammara. I'm a principal technology consultant. I work for Thoughtworks. And for the last 2.5 years, I've been working with Roche for their data mesh implementation journey. You already had the chance to hear from Omar at the start of the day. But just like Omar mentioned, when you're talking about a program and you want to scale a program, you really need to think about it as a program. So I've brought with me today my colleague. Antonio, maybe you want to introduce yourself too?
Yes, thank you. I'm Antonio Agudo. I'm based in Madrid. I play different roles. I joined the company almost 20 years ago as a sysadmin. Now I'm a program manager. I joined this program RDI, and that is aiming to implement a Roche data mesh in the company in November. And let's get this started, Ammara. Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio. What can you expect from this talk? The life science industry is really exciting, and it's always been at the edge of experimentation, at the edge of trying out what's new, what's happening. And interestingly, we have a lot of life science company and pharmaceutical companies that are actually publicly either embracing data mesh, working on data mesh, or at least talking about data mesh, about how they're trying to implement it. And I had the incredible opportunity through data mesh learning community as such to speak with representatives from many of these companies that I'm showing on my screen here right now, and to talk about their data mesh journeys. What are the common trends that they really see? And yeah, I thought I could bring the outcomes of those conversations to you here today. So some of the highlights. In 2023, the survey is that 84% of organizations in the life science industry are still talking about increased investments in data and analytics. Now, of course, this survey came out at the start of 2023 in Jan, and since then, we've had some changes in the world in terms of financial stability, I would say. Having said that, the trend still, as of today, is that there is an increased investment in data and analytics, and 80% of the reportees are actually reporting that the biggest problem that they face is not technology, but people, process, as well as culture. And so in these conversations, and I think I spoke to more than, I would say, 30 to 40 people from data stewards, data leaders, data mesh experts from these organizations. And when I asked them, what is the most highlighted reasons? Why do you want to do data mesh? It wasn't really that surprising to hear that interdepartment or inter-global functional data interoperability was the core reason. So as long as it was about use cases within a particular domain or within a particular function, global function, it was fine. We're doing quite well. It's really about once you needed data from a different department that it started getting difficult. The amount of time, the average time to incorporate a new data source or to migrate a data source and make that available to consumers is anywhere between 6 months to 2 years. And so this is no longer acceptable in the current world that we live in. So the need to have a shorter lead time to incorporate new data sources was something that was extremely important to our customer base as well. Especially for the life science space, automated regulatory compliance was a concern, and the hope that data mesh could potentially ease the process as it exists today is one of the reasons why we want to embrace data mesh. So there's no direct a correlation between data products, data mesh, and regulatory compliance. But the idea is that if we simplify the process, if we make the data more transparent, if we're including aspects of versioning and history, and we clearly know whose regulatory compliance work could become more efficient and less time consuming. We also spoke about a lot about higher data quality, which is not very specific to the life science industry, but is a general trend as to why people want to embrace data mesh at all. For those industries that are implementing data mesh, their core challenges or the most highlighted top 4 challenges seem to be one, lack of incentive. So especially when it's about if I'm producing, for example, if I'm very close to the source system and I'm producing source data products, and the visibility or the business value is really downstream for the use cases or the domains, who's incentivizing me really? So where is the incentive for me to actually maintain this data, treat it as a data product, and actually provide high quality of services to other data consumers? Project to product thinking was a very core concern that most of our work that is currently being done in many of these organizations, whether they were startup level or they're already been with the 5,000 people scale, or organizations of the scale of Roche as well, which is quite huge in multiple countries and industries. Project thinking is still the core, and then agile thinking is something that is still in progress with people embracing aspects like SAFe, and then we are applying another layer on top of it, which is like product thinking, right, to your data. So this entire shift from project to product thinking is really a huge organizational change management topic. Another core topic, which is very specific to the life science industry itself, is the fact that many healthcare life science organizations or pharmaceutical companies don't actually have a lot of internal developer talent. A lot of it is like working with partners or software delivery partners. So most of these teams that are actually producing the data products are not internal to the companies. So when you're talking about ownership, there's a whole new question about who's owning it when they are not really internal to the company. So this industry is actually still software and IT is very traditionally reporting to the finance segment or the finance reporting hierarchy. And as a result is still very commonly viewed as a cost saving center rather than an innovation center. So when we talk about data mesh and ownership of your data products, who will own it is a common trend as well. And finally, a challenge here was about analysis paralysis, that when we are spending a lot of time actually identifying which data product we want to build and which is the exact right use case that we want to go for. So a lot of times we spend weeks and up to months. So this was very, very often highlighted that analysis paralysis is something that organizations are struggling with and dealing with. So while challenges are always important also to know who's struggling with what, and you feel, okay, fine, I'm not the only person who's having these pains that I'm facing. It's also important to look at who are the strong performers that are doing well in this journey. What is it that they're focusing on? And here, this was quite interesting in the sense of what is the most highlighted, what's next in our journey. So the first thing here was about the federated governance spectrum. Now, federated computational governance, this is not a new topic. I mean, it's new in the data mesh world, of course, but governance itself is not very new. And everybody's trying to get it right. Everybody's trying it. And so why is this what people are doing correctly? Gartner, basically in their report for 2023, published what is called as this federated governance spectrum. And so what they tried to do here was not to tell exactly that these different aspects of governance should be centralized, federated, or decentralized, but high performers or performers that are advanced in their data mesh journey in the life science industry are actually creating very clean visibility between and transparency of where on the spectrum is their governance actually available. So there is still a lot of misunderstanding between centralized governance, federated governance, and decentralized governance. So a visibility like this, that in our company, this exactly will be centralized, these components will be federated, and certain other components will be decentralized, and then making this very visible and transparent to the company as well, actually brings a lot of, or solves a lot of problems and saves a lot of times in discussion as well. The second aspect is basically investing in developer experience. Quite rightly highlighted, if you expect teams to go that extra mile to build data products, then you have to make their life easier. You can't just say jump through extra hoops and then don't make your life easier, right? So the developer experience from two lenses, from the lens of the data product developer, but also from the platform developer, right? So you're trying to invest into the developer experience for both, taking into consideration compliance, speed, and scale. And this is an example from Gilead, where they're really investing into this and realizing that if you make it easier for developers to actually build data products easily with a short lead time, then they will actually do it. If you put a lot of barriers in front of it, then that's something that you would try and avoid, and you would try and go through different areas. At Roche, this is something that we are heavily investing into it as well. And Omar basically spoke about this in the first talk that we had today. The next most highlighted, what next, is basically clear executive direction. And this is something many of us have actually really experienced, that if we don't have clear executive direction, and that's easier said than done, what happens is that you're spending bulk of your effort to actually just sell the concept, right? You're constantly trying to convince people, you're constantly trying to spend energy, time, and effort in executive buy-in. You're chasing after people saying, hey, you should do this. And you could do it in multiple ways. And Antonio will tell us a little bit more about how we did it at Roche. But the idea is that in whatever way you want to try and track it, whether it's by OKRs or by lean value trees or whatever is your way of tracking business metrics, making different domains and teams actually measurable for what they're doing for the data mesh of the company, how they're progressing on their data mesh journey, itself is a great incentive for them to start adopting these practices. Some companies, for example, AstraZeneca has a company policy for one of their business departments where their progress is measured, or their business value is measured by how many data products can be used actually potentially by other domains, or are being consumed by other business domains. So such projects and teams get higher, faster funding than, say, other teams. At Roche, for example, we also are looking at, we have what we call as the onboarding process, like onboarding to your Roche data mesh. And so we look at how many domains and how many of the business units actually have gone through this onboarding process, or where in the journey of this onboarding process that they are. And so, yeah, so you can look at it the way you want, or however you're measuring value in your organization. But companies that are doing well in their data mesh journey have some executive direction here, or have some executive buy-in on this level. How you can get this executive buy-in is perhaps maybe by having one success case or two success cases, and then taking that to your executive saying, hey, this is tangible benefit, and this is the tangible value that we have proven, and therefore we would like for this to be executively pushed for. And finally, in terms of it, is a new idea as well that's really gaining traction in the last couple of quarters, I would say, is the idea of what is decision products. Decision products is not really brand new anything, but the whole idea is that let's not invest into building all data products. All data does not need to be data products, but we need to have this critical data that's valuable and reusable. And that is in your journey, in your process journey, there are certain decision points. So data that is intangible, without which these decision points cannot be made, such data should really be built as data products. And maybe building this before and identifying this early in your journey, so that you can actually clearly see which decisions can be made faster, decisions can be made more efficiently. And such decisions, quite honestly, are often cross-domain decisions, right? You have multiple domains that need to work together to come to such decisions. So work backwards from the decision point. And then what is it that you would like to do? What is the decision product that you have? So which could be something like a consumer product. And then one step further, what are the data products from different business domains that can come together in order to enable this decision? So really working backward from your process journey, whether it's within the company or whether it's customer facing. So it could be your value stream, or it could be a customer journey, but identifying your decision points. So this is really the trends. We have mentioned it a couple of times today on the talk that data mesh is a multi-year journey. And sometimes when we're in this journey, we often get a little demotivated, or why are things not moving fast enough, or why is it not happening, or why is it not exploding? But we must remember that for any kind of change and transformation, in the first, we always have what is called as the early market, and the early market are usually technology enthusiasts. And these are like the early adopters and the visionaries. Then you really hit the chasm, and then you really become like move into the mainstream market. So it's important that you do the basics and the fundamentals here, right, for the early adopters, and then you don't forget that you need to scale. So prioritize whatever is needed for scaling, and keep in mind scaling is not just about building it, or a few of us know what needs to be done, but rather making sure that you take the change management aspect of it, the internal training aspect of it, the technology training, the business training that goes with it, so that you can actually really scale it to the early majority as well as the late majority. And yeah, if you are right now in any one of these stages, remember this is generally also the market trend or the trend that has happened with any major change that has happened, including microservices or, for example, Agile. I'm going to spend a couple of minutes on one or two examples that I brought along, and then I don't really speak for the company AstraZeneca. I've drawn information based on certain interviews I had with stakeholders at AstraZeneca and some public presentations that they've made on this topic. Again, so this is information that I've drawn from there. Something I found really interesting here was they're using data mesh and data products, very, very targeted to reduce the time to development in their center of excellences. So they are prioritizing their work on their center of excellences, and they believe that one way that they can measure their success is if they're able to do more modeling experiments. So one of their core business use cases requires them to do a lot of modeling experiments, and so they're measuring success by the number of modeling experiments they can do, and how they're actually achieving it, or the goals that they're going for, or what they have prioritized really is per center of excellence or per department of center of excellence, they have dedicatedly one data product team. The data products are basically used as building blocks that can quickly be brought together. And they're using DDD workshops, like domain-driven design workshops, and event storming as a methodology to actually identify these data products, as well as where are the boundaries of the domains of where these data products should actually sit. So this was like an interesting approach there. From what I understand, in one of these departments at AstraZeneca, they are really trying to target it and go towards, they work backwards from a business case that they needed, and they realized that they were able to, if they target the number of modeling experiments, and with this approach that they would be able to scale it from there. And they did have success here as well. They had 70% time reduction in the amount of time, the lead time it takes from the data being asked for and being available to their data scientists for the modeling experiments. So that was for AstraZeneca. GSK, who are also quite open and active about public about their data mesh journey. They have a really interesting online material available in terms of what they do for data mesh. And they have like a really cool slogan that I found really interesting. So if you're working in the data space, you'll often hear it's the one source of truth, right? It's the finance data, one source of truth, or it's the customer data, one source of truth. So they have the slogan of no source of truth. We will only build what's needed. So it's like this just-in-time development, which I thought was super cool. They are starting from a customer approach. They're really going with design thinking here. They're setting vision and strategic direction. They put a lot of energy and effort in spreading awareness. So they're really treating it like products. And then they're partnering with the development team. So they have like a design team and a development team, then basically openly being transparent about the roadmap of what's coming up, and really treating it like any other product with product showcases. So you have data product showcases as well. Their measure of success is basically active users, so number of data, downstream consumers of your data products, and then kind of applications as well where these data products are used, not limited to dashboards only. It could be ML, it could be AI. And yeah, also the kind of users who are actually being impacted. So it's a very design-driven approach to how they're treating their data, which was quite interesting as well. So with this, thank you very much. I would like to now hand over to my partner, Antonio.
Thank you, Ammara. What I'd like to explain to you in the next minutes, how we are supporting from the company the Roche data mesh implementation. No, Ammara and Omar today they explained that we started around 2 years ago, no? And we started building a concept of a program, no? Program management with different projects and different initiatives that we're running. During this year, we've been living a transformation into more from project to product. So we are currently implementing SAFE in our organization. So we are moving to different concepts, no? And now what we call this is a strategic theme. And Roche data and insights as a strategic theme, what we are doing are providing the different steps and the flow of steps to provide value, no? To deliver value to our customers, to our patients. We are in the life science industry, and our main customer is patients. And then what we have in this slide are what we selected either if it is a program or if it is a strategic thing, are the key pillars of what we are doing. No? We're aiming to deliver benefits to the company, to deliver benefits to our customers. And how we do this? So first, we need to engage at all the levels of the organization, from the top to the bottom and bottom to the top. This is driving executive buy-in. So we need to keep the organization active and to share the message. Scalable. We are in a global organization. Everything that we select that is going to be delivered should be at the way that is scalable for the whole organization. And always we need to keep in mind that it's easy to maintain and sustain in the future. So even if we are always asking for delivering faster to our customers, so deliver value, this will be something that we maintain and sustain for a longer period of time. How we measure the success of this? Omar, an hour ago, explained that we have identified around 50 data domains. Okay, we have different implementation of data mesh. What we are doing is we would like to have a common implementation of data mesh, and then we like to onboard all these 50 data domains into a common Roche data mesh implementation. And we need to measure the impact. Know what is the value that with these data domains, data products, and use case, we are delivering to our customers. Could you please go to the next one? Thank you. And now let me give you a bit more of details, know how we are extractors. The first layer that we have in the organization is our sponsors. Paralysis by analysis, you mentioned, right? It is normally happens in a lot of organizations. What we have with this group of executive leaders is they are in our business. So they quickly identify the business challenges and they are already sponsorship. So we can quickly jump into this initiative and then we can design a new data domain or a new data product and a new use case. So we immediately have the direct support from them. This is why it is really important that we express the message across the organization. Then if we go to the purple, to the column that is purple, then we have a permanent team. This is where the Agile Program Management Office is, no? And then we have people that are helping with all the communication, leading the transformation, the organizational change management activities. And we have different artifacts like forums, architecture forum, data sharing forum that are helping us to define the governance model, the definition of the products, and the framework, no? The prioritization that we are using to onboard new data domains, products, and use cases. In the middle, what we have are the data domains. These are long life team. This is a very important concept that, again, moving to a product mindset takes some time, but later it gives you benefits. You know? So it's worth to spend some time and asking for the right team that is already established and will be able to make the whole life cycle of the data domain and the product. And then we have in green, the foundation. No, it's not only capabilities, it's also the people that are going to work, that are supporting all these initiatives, and the technology. No? A part of all these consultants, a part of all these experts that are helping us in the data and analytics field, we have a self-service platform with our catalog that is where the data products are. No? It's available to be consumed by the data products. Okay, you please go to the next one. Okay. And we talk a lot about this, but we're not going to go to all the details of this slide, but I would like to highlight how we internally work. We identified a business challenge, we detected something, and we immediately jump into this. So we don't spend time in preparing requirements, testing phase, and stay a lot of time discussing about what are we going to do. So we'd rather jump into a use case, and this initiative or collaboration we produce something, maybe a data domain, maybe a new data product, or even a sample use case. No? But with this, we are learning. We are learning into this journey, and we are delivering value since the very beginning of the activities that we are doing. This is a long journey. It's started 2 years ago. Again, a program, a strategic theme with all this composition, and we still see that we are far away from complete this. It is a running exercise that will continue during the next years.
Thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us. And yeah, if you have any questions, we're happy to, you can reach out to us on the Data Mesh Learning community on Slack, or you can reach out to us on LinkedIn, and we'll be happy to support you in depth. 30 minutes is a small time, so we rush through a lot of topics as well, but yeah, thank you for having us.
So thank you both for your presentation, very helpful information.